We'd like to call the meeting back to order. Can I get a motion that the closed meeting be closed, and the board certifies that to each of the members' knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting to which this certification applies, and two, only such business matters as were identified in the motion concerning the closed meeting were heard, discussed, and considered. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion for Mr. Honeycutt, second for Mr. Edwards. Roll call.
Mr. Edwards?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mrs. Garner?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mr. Honeycutt?
Yes.
Mr. Palmer?
Yes.
Mrs. Bailey?
Yes.
Mr. Ritchie?
Yes.
Mr. Sturdivant?
Yes. At this time, we're going to move to item 5, which is the superintendent's report and information items. Mr. Nichols, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Sterling. I appreciate it. Thank you, all members of the board. Excuse me, I don't think I had that on. And thank you to all of the representatives from the community that have come tonight to be a part of this historic meeting. I just want to state that I am excited, actually nervous tonight, to be a part of the overall opportunity that we have before us. I want to acknowledge the hard work of the steering committee, and I want to be thankful in expressing my wishes to the Board of Supervisors for working with us in bringing us to this point tonight of having a vote for opportunities for our secondary schools. The steering committee definitely worked very hard. We've got a good report back from the architects that worked on the study. We have looked at many opportunities that are available to the school division and looked at the pros and cons, and indeed there are pros and cons to the various options that we have. We are a large county. We are a large county that has faced a lot of missed opportunities in the past because of some issues that have continuously come up, particularly related to funding. But now we seem to be in agreement on these options that move available. And I'm very thankful. I know their emotions run high. I know that we have been a board that has worked well and together and communication, and I'm very hopeful and expectant that the enthusiasm and the synergy that is available for us to move forward as we look to make Mecklenburg County absolutely the best rural school division in the state, perhaps among the best divisions throughout the state, by working with our state government on the whole program of high school redesign, getting our students beyond just looking at SOL tests and passing those, building the academics, the career literacy, the whole issue of how we engage our students with credential development and getting them involved in the communities, pre-K through 12th grade. I think we have some great options that are ahead of us. It is with those things in mind, particularly related to the idea of having equal opportunities for all of our students. The idea that we would have the best programs that would fit the direction of the state with high school redesign plans that they have and Portrait of a Graduate. And then looking at the recommendations, acknowledging the hard work of the steering committee. My recommendation to the board will be tonight that we look at the building of one high school for the county to be able to move forward. And that will be an action item for you all to take based on that recommendation. Mr. Sterling. Also, I have one other point that I'd like to make tonight, because I know there are many teachers that are very anxious to hear about this. There have been a lot of questions related to the state government finding a shortfall in financing, and the governor announcing that he's holding back on the idea of the 2% raise. One of the foremost group decisions and focus for this school board has been to try to help our teachers no longer be in a position of having the lowest salaries in the region, second lowest in the state. And we have pulled together a plan that we will continue to be able to offer the 2% raise to the teachers with no cutbacks, and we're very pleased with that. And we'll be looking to move forward with other options to take to the board, looking at how we can get our teacher salaries and other staff that are low at least midway up the region in what we've got going on. So we would be looking at that and taking that into consideration as we move forward into the future. But those are my 2 comments for tonight, Mr. Sturtevant.
Thank you, Mr. Nichols. We're going to move on to the item 6, which is action. Our first action tonight is personnel. Get a motion that the school board approves the personnel recommendations.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion from Mr. Honeycutt, second from Mr. Palmer. Roll call.
Mr. Edwards?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mrs. Garner?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mr. Honeycutt?
Yes.
Mr. Palmer?
Yes.
Mrs. Bailey?
Yes.
Mr. Ritchie?
Yes.
Mr. Sturtevant?
Yes. Action item B. This is the schools facilities proposal. Mr. Nichols, do you have a recommendation?
My recommendation tonight, as mentioned in my comments, is that the school board look to take advantage of the Board of Supervisors' monies to be able to build one school system for our middle and secondary school, high schools.
Okay, Mr. Nichols, that's going to be option 2, which is a consolidated high school, middle school complex.
Yes.
Okay. We get a motion that the school board approves the superintendent's recommendation for option 2, which is a consolidated high school, middle school complex of the school's facilities proposal. We have a motion?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion for Mr. Edwards, second for Ms. Garner. You have any discussion? If none, Madam Clerk, roll call.
Mr. Edwards?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mrs. Garner?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
No.
Mr. Honeycutt?
No.
Mr. Palmer?
No.
Mrs. Bailey?
No.
Mr. Ritchie?
No.
Mr. Sturtevant?
Yes. The motion has failed.
Mr. Chairperson, I would at this time like to make a motion that the school board accept option number 4, and I am referring to the book that we received the other night from at the Board of Supervisors joint meeting with the school board, and that was option number 4, which is to not to consolidate, but to erect a new middle and high school for Bluestone, renovate our existing Parkview Senior High to our middle school, and construct one new high school for Parkview. That is my motion.
We have a motion from Mr. Honeycutt that we go with option 4. Option 4 is a consolidated high school, middle school complex for Bluestone, a new Parkview high school, and convert the old high school to the new middle school. That is the motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second.
I'd like to amend the agenda. Amend the motion.
Mr. Edwards.
I'd like to amend the motion to read, to start the Bluestone High School, Bluestone Middle School with $80 million of the $100 million that's been appropriated. That's what it'll take to build one high school, middle school in one end of the county. And I'd like to amend the motion to make that.
Second.
Mr. Edwards is making an amendment to the motion to use $80 million to construct the Bluestone High School, middle school complex, and then construct the Parkview High School, middle school complex. Is that correct, Mr. Edwards?
That's right.
We have a second from Ms. Edwards. I meant Ms. Garner. Roll call on that
Can we
amendment.
have discussion, please?
We can have a discussion, yes.
Okay. I'd like to know, other than here, the $80 million of that $100 million, why are you saying that that one complex is going to cost $80 million in itself?
Well.
Those are just projected numbers.
No, it's not. I'm going to unproject it right now for you. Okay, if you're going to do a Parkview on your property, You have the property, right?
We already own the
You-
property.
Okay, you have the building, which you're going to renovate. The numbers say that we're going to spend $150 million, $143 million, $143 million. If you look at the numbers, it says $80,978,000 to build Bluestone High School. The number, you're the one that y'all made the motion.
But those are projected numbers. Those
Okay,
aren't-
Mr. Edwards,
Yes.
are you saying that, because the numbers may go up or down?
Right.
Those are just projected,
the
they're not
numbers-
factual numbers.
The numbers of 80 million, it could be more, it could be less. Mr. Edwards, is your motion that, are you really asking to do one project before the other?
Yes. And I think some of the people in the,
So it's not the dollar amount, is your motion is to start the project, the Bluestone High School, Middle School complex, whatever that cost will be, then start the project at Parkview?
Yeah,
Because we don't
that's-
know the cost.
that's exactly what I'm saying. And I was using the cost numbers because those were the projected numbers. So
Okay.
that's where I got my numbers from.
But again, to the public, those are not factual numbers. They are only projected numbers from this one architect firm.
That's
Mr.
true.
Edwards' motion is that,
I want,
not necessarily a dollar amount, to start the project at Bluestone High School, Middle School complex first.
can I say something?
You can have
Discussion.
we can have a discussion. Are you still going to second the motion?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah, second.
Discussion.
I would like to say that I don't think a lot of people realize that when the two schools are built, the county population is going to be redistributed. So some of the people that now are going to Parkview will probably be going to Bluestone to ease the amount of attendance at Parkview. We're going to even out the distribution. This means that it's going to hit Mr. Campbell's area, Mr. Ritchie's area, I don't know about Mr. Palmer, my area. I have students going to Parkview. They may end up going to Bluestone because it's not going to be the same number going to Parkview and the small number going to Bluestone. They're going to make it even. I just want people on the other end of the county to know, and you explain to the people in your district, all of a sudden, they're now coming to our district, our end.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Because we have an amendment to the motion, we're going to do a roll call on Mr. Edwards' amendment. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
I have other discussion, please.
On the amendment?
Yeah, on this amendment.
Yes.
If this amendment doesn't carry, do we go back to the original
Motion.
amendment?
We're going to go to your
The
original motion.
To my motion?
Yes.
That's right.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure what
Yes.
we were doing.
And we're not, and that isn't proposing that we spend $150 million.
No.
That is that we pursue option 4.
Correct.
We haven't spent much time looking hard at option 4 and
No.
what it could cost and what we could cut out of it or anything like that.
Right.
We're not saying that it's going to be $150 million.
Right, no, that's exactly
We
right.
want to pursue option 4 and see if we can do that for an amount we can afford or what we can give the citizens.
That is correct.
We're going to do a roll call
And
on
I'd like to
Mr.
make a comment, Mr. Chairman, before we do that.
on
I
Mr.
think-
Edwards' amendment.
I think we need to, yes, I think
Okay.
we need to refrain from saying our district. This is a school system wherein that we all are in this together. So if we would, let's refrain from saying my
Thank you.
area, my
Thank you.
district, whatever, and go on
I'm
with
just
the
making it,
school system.
I'm just making it known.
Thank you, Ms.
You're making
Thank you,
Mr.
Mr.
Chairman-
Palmer.
Mr. Chairman, I have one more comment.
Is this in a comment on Mr. Edwards' amendment?
It is, because, well, it's actually a comment on some discussion that was related to that amendment.
Related to Mr. Edwards' amendment.
Yes.
The floor is yours.
One of the things that redistricting will require also is that our instructional staff determine what are ideal numbers to make the programming work. It may not be exactly half, and I think that that's something that our instructional staff still has to study, and the goal will be to provide equal education in every school building in the county, so that no matter where you're located, you have access to the same programming, no matter where you are. And that would, I would hope, would be our goal as a school board.
Thank you, Ms. Bailey. Roll call, Madam Clerk. This is for Mr. Edwards' amendment.
Mr. Edwards?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mrs. Garner?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
No.
Mr. Honeycutt?
No.
Mr. Palmer?
No.
Mrs. Bailey?
No.
Mr. Ritchie?
No.
Mr. Sturtevant?
Yes. Now we're going back to the original motion from Mr. Honeycutt, that this board move forward with option number 4. That option is a consolidated high school, middle school complex for Bluestone, a new Parkview High School, and convert the old middle school to the new Parkview High School.
No, convert the old high school.
Convert the old high school to the
to
new middle school.
That is correct.
Any discussion on that?
Yes.
Mr. Edwards?
Who made the motion?
I did.
Now, I want you to explain to me where the extra 40 million is coming from. The Board of Supervisors at our meeting the other night explicitly said they will not raise taxes to raise any more money than $90 million with $10 million down. That was out of the question.
Okay. I personally can't speak for the Board of Supervisors.
You were there.
I was there, but I can't speak for them, and they have not taken a vote on this. But it's my understanding that they want to move forward and work with whatever option this school board brings to them, and that was my understanding when I left there the other night. That was my interpretation. And again, we have, to the general public, we looked at one architect firm that did this survey, one. I can name you hundreds in the state of Virginia alone. These are projected numbers. These are no ways a factual number. I've done a lot of homework since January. Been online and saw schools that were built for 850, 900 students, middle schools, high schools, for less than 20 million apiece. If I do the math correctly, 20 times 4 is 80 million. That's 4 new schools. I'm just saying that's one locality that did that. But again, I'm going off of what the Board of Supervisors said when they initiated this process. They wanted to do what the public wanted them to do, and only 20% of the public that did this survey are in favor of a consolidated school. The other 80% want 2 schools.
Thank you, Mr. Honeycutt. We have a motion and a second. At this point, roll call.
Mr. Edwards?
No.
Mr. Johnson?
No.
Mrs. Garner?
No.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mr. Honeycutt?
Yes.
Mr. Palmer?
Yes.
Mrs. Bailey?
Yes.
Mr. Ritchie?
Yes.
Mr. Sturtevant?
Yes. The motion has moved and been passed that this board, Mr. Nichols, move forward with the option 4, which is a new consolidated high school, middle school complex at Bluestone, a new Parkview High School, and renovating the old Parkview High School, making that the new middle school.
Thank you.
At this point, Mr. Nichols?
Thank you to the board. When we put a plan for our high school redesign together, I deliberately set it up with the idea that we could make it work for 1 or 2 schools. It's my job to make it work with my staff, who are very capable of putting this in place. So we will move forward to take this to the Board of Supervisors and see how they receive it.
Thank you, Mr. Nichols. As you've seen, that this board sometimes is not always unanimous. But at the end of the day, we as a board, we have to work together, because both options are win-win for the kids. They will have a better educational facility than they currently have. These decisions aren't easy, but it's the ones that this board has to make. I have a motion to adjourn.
Motion?
We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor? All opposed? Meeting's adjourned.